to order the City of Pflugerville Parks and Recreation Commission meeting for Wednesday. No, it is not Wednesday. Sorry. I got over being embarrassed a long time ago when I married my husband. Thursday,
Okay.
November 21st, 2024. The time is 7:03 p.m. Citizens communication. The commission welcomes comment on parks and recreation items. Public comment that is made on an item that is not on the published agenda will only be heard by the commission. No formal action, discussion, or comment will be made. Each person providing public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and will be asked to state his or her name and address for the public record. Do we have anyone who would like to speak?
Okay, I'm Miriam Mormon. I live at 601 Landon Samuel Loop. Is that all I need to do?
Sure.
Yeah.
So my comment is a small one, but it's a need that I've noticed because I use the park trails so often. I would like to look at some of the trails and consider if there are long distances between where we have trash cans or the dog areas. And I believe there's a few places that we need some more. One particular real busy intersection is, where we have the vendor parking for Deutschen Pfest. That little entrance into the park, and the soccer fields are on the other side of the park, and there's nothing there. So I would just like to suggest maybe we do a little research on that.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone?
Maybe
Oh,
the most
it's all
important
us.
we talk about.
Yeah.
All right, approval of minutes. Item 3A, discuss and consider action to approve the minutes from the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting on September 19th, 2024.
We have 2 minutes to approve. We have the minutes from the last meeting and then the minutes from the joint session.
But since I was gonna do this one
And you can do them
separate,
together, I guess, if you really wanted to.
well, as I was saying, I was gonna do them separate because not everybody was here.
Can you turn around?
Not soon enough.
Ooh.
Because some people will have to abstain from the second because they were not here. So,
Okay.
sorry, you're just gonna have to deal with me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, did everyone get a chance to read the meeting minutes from September 19th?
Yes.
Questions? Corrections? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Okay, thank you, Chelsea. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carried. And then the second meeting minutes is from the Parks and Rec Commission and Parks and Rec meeting on November 13th. And that was for the Old Town Park Conference. So, I know that not everyone was here, so the ones that were here, did you get a chance to read them? And do we have any corrections there? Okay. So we'll have to motion and second, and then if somebody wasn't here, that person will need to abstain. Okay, do we have a motion to approve? Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so we have someone who would like to abstain?
I'd like to abstain.
Okay, thank you.
And stand too.
Okay. To abstain, because they were not here. All right, discuss only, item 4A. Discussion regarding director's update, including information about project status updates, upcoming special events, and staffing. Shane, take it
Okay.
away.
Okay. Actually, Jack's gonna talk first.
Oh, okay. John.
The real star of the show.
John Hanson, Rec Superintendent, wanted to update you on our upcoming programs. So we have pretty much all of our same reoccurring programs. There'll be some adjustments with Zumba. One of our Zumba instructors has decided to join the National Guard, so we're going to lose him, unfortunately. So, but we're still looking for.
Pretty selfish.
We're still looking for other Zumba instructors who can take on those classes. And right now we have Kiddo Kinetics, but we're also working with an organization to try and bring in some more gymnastics. If you remember recently, we lost our gymnastics instructors. They decided they wanted to spend more time with their kids, their grandkids.
Selfish.
So we are in contract negotiations with that company.
Do you know what the minimum age is for kiddo kinetics?
I believe it's 3. I can check on it for you, but I believe it's 3 years old.
How old are your kids?
She's turning 3 in December.
4. We're just gonna bump it.
Oh, man. Oh.
I believe the age range is 3 to 6. So.
Okay.
So this is our upcoming programs and events. This picture on the left, this is some of the kids visiting the Umlauf, perfect for a city like Pflugerville, the Umlauf Museum. We have a couple of senior trips. Big note, next week is Fall Fun Camp, and also the rec center will be closed on the 28th and 29th for Thanksgiving holiday. We have a couple of DIY card making classes. Dungeons and Dragons still continues to be really, really popular. And then coming up in December, we start kind of our holiday themed. And so another really popular one always is the Peppermint Parkway. We take the seniors out there. So if you would like to register for that, do so quickly, because that one always is very packed.
What is the Peppermint Parkway?
So essentially it's like it's kind of like a farmer's market, like craft type, artisan vendor market. So
Arts and crafts?
yeah.
Okay.
So, and you can go in there and buy your Christmas ornaments, your Christmas gifts, those kind of things. So it's a lot of fun to go and shop. They go and group shop. So
Got it. So is that open to the public, or is that just for seniors?
it is open to the public. This one,
Okay.
this is our senior trip, and so this one
Okay.
is, we drive the seniors down in vans to keep them off the roads.
Got it.
That way they can still go out and visit places, but they don't have to drive there to get there. So, but yeah, if you wanted to go on your own, you can definitely do that as well.
I'm not a senior.
We have the Festival of Lights coming up on Saturday, December 7th. I'm getting a schedule printed for y'all so that you'll know what time everything is going on if you would like to attend. There's actually a small typo on here. The parade is from 5 to 7:30. 4 o'clock is when we start all the load in for our different floats. We are going to have 50 floats this year. We are extending out an additional block because last year the head of the snake ate the tail, so we're trying to expand out a little bit, so there's no pausing of the parade to let people continue through. And then we'll do the tree lighting as soon as the parade is over with Mr. Claus and City Council. And that'll be downtown. So we have lots of food vendors lined up. We've actually met with the downtown businesses and Hanover's Prost and Victory Tap. They're all doing special meals for us for Festival of Lights. And then we have kids activities, face painter, obviously Santa will be there for pictures. And then on the stage, inside of Suite 500, where CMO's office is at, we'll have the Hendrickson Jazz Band and then the Hendrickson Brass Band. We're finalizing them, but they'll both be performing at Festival of Lights as well. And the run a show, so as you can see, 4 p.m. the event starts. So the main stage performance is the Hendrickson High School Band. Parade begins at 5. Santa arrives at the tree for lighting at 6. Another performance at 7, and then 7:30, end of the event. Obviously, people will still be taking pictures and those kind of things at that point. And then we have the mother-son Wild West night. So I'm gonna let Shane do this one.
Yeah, so this was our second annual. You can see we had a hayride going on that went into the evening. They were horsing around. They had some horse races. All the folks got an opportunity. You can tell the moms were more excited than the kids on some of them to take photos. Got to do it for the gram though. Got to get the photo. It didn't happen if you can't post it. And then the kids got to pal around. They got to hang out and fellowship. There were cupcakes eaten and some shenanigans along the way, but really fun event. I think almost doubled our turnout.
Yeah,
for last
almost 100 registrants, individual
Oh, that's good.
registrants signed up.
year. Next was our Stonehill Sports Court. We unveiled it, was that 2 weekends ago? Last weekend?
Last week.
2 weekends, I think.
Yeah.
All
very
those
nice.
together.
Yeah.
And we had talked about this with y'all for a while. This is the mural that was done by Emily Eisenhart. It's a really cool court. You can see to the left, we had Austin FC and their nonprofit foundation, the 4ATX Foundation, were both big players in this, especially the mural and the art part. We had face painters and popsicles and other things for everyone to participate in. The left photo has Emily Eisenhart, the artist, the board vice president for the Austin ATX Foundation, and you can see Mayor Victor Gonzalez, and then Jeff on the right, being our EMC. Emily Eisenhart got up and spoke, and I can't remember this gentleman's name. I'll just say Jeff. No one knows if that's right or wrong. Jeff spoke as well. We had a ribbon cutting. Then we pulled the goals out of the ground. These are the ones that they telescope up like a luggage handle, and they can go down, and so it can be a basketball court, but they can come up and they can be a basketball court or a soccer court as well. And then the festivities went. Everyone's out there playing and trying out the court. It was a fun time.
Looks like the weather was real conducive too.
Really great.
Yeah.
Nathan did a little video for us here that we're gonna see.
Today, we're opening the Pflugerville Stonehill Multi-Sport Court that is more than just a place to play. It's a symbol of innovation and forward thinking with the first of its kind golfer system in Texas, giving us the flexibility to enjoy both soccer and basketball in one shared space. This court represents state-of-the-art facilities that meet the diverse needs of our growing community. But this project is also a testament to what we can achieve when we come together. The partnership between the City of Pflugerville, Austin FC, and 4ATX Foundation, and the incredible creativity of artist Emily Eisenhart are what made today possible.
That course is the first of its kind in the country. We haven't
Yeah.
found any. There are maybe a dozen courts that have a basketball court with some sort of soccer goal coming up across the country. None in the state of Texas, but then with the art mural and the partnership with the local sports association, it's a real game changer for that area. Other playground completions that we've had. So Falcon Point Splash, the play area, the dry side of that got a complete redo with a new play feature and some swings. Zola Park, those fences just came down this week. So you can see on the left that there was an original concrete trail that went around the tree, and we put some adult use equipment. So when kiddos are out there playing, their parents can walk the loop trail that goes around. They can also get on these pieces of adult fitness equipment. To the right, you can see a brand new playground with new shade. We have swings. The other side also got renovated, and it's got a zip line as well. So there's zip line, swings, a 2 to 5 and a 5 to 12 playground. We've got some pour in place to make it completely ADA accessible, plus the new 10-foot wide concrete path and the exercise equipment. So I got a complete renovation. Gillen Creek Park. So Gillen Creek Park is seeing a complete redo in some ways. Obviously, the pool happened fairly recently, and we've opened that up to the public this summer. These two pieces replace what was currently there, and that was allowed through FEMA regulations for doing any sort of improvement in a floodplain. The other two pieces that we've gotten some grant funding for will come to this play area as well, and you'll see some more shade and some really cool play features coming in. But FEMA has to approve that to make sure that any improvements that we do don't impact those neighbors. And so it's quite a bit of a more drawn out process. But we timed the replacement of this playground with Deutschen Pfest so we could put the carnival games out there. So when Deutschen Pfest was happening, we had taken the old playground down, and we used that whole area. If you were able to get over to that side, that was the carnival area. Carl area, which we'll talk about in a little bit, was definitely a big hit, and we're gonna bring it back, but we're gonna have to be working around the spots of these new play features that have come in. But we put pour in place in, so when there's flooding, we won't lose the wood fiber mulch. We have that shade that was kept, that was the old play piece, new swings, new play piece under the old shade, and then we've got, like I said, once FEMA approves it, we'll have a new large play piece and shade coming to that area as well. Cambridge Heights was the park that had the playground replacement. It's also getting the DG conversion to concrete, part of our ADA transition plan. And then it, on the left, has the fitness course, that ninja course that we brought to y'all to talk about. So the right is the playground. That's the wood fiber mulch. Oh, there's a mouse. So this shade was all that was there last time. This is a new shade, so we've expanded. So we kept the old shade. We expanded the footprint to include a new area with new shade. And then this is the Ninja Warrior course. This is concrete right now. They're pouring in place over that, which is similar to what you saw, that blue turf on the Gillian Creek one that we just showed you. And then this will be ready to go as well. And there is the Ninja Warrior course, and it's all of its glory there. It'll be adults and youth rated, so you know your 8-year-olds talking trash, you can take them to the course and whoop them. Wilbar Creek South, part of the bond program. You can see the turf that has gone in and some of the hardscape improvements that we're working on right now still. That project was originally scheduled to be completed into this year, but we upgraded the dog park to do some turf areas and some DG and not just natural grass. So the dogs have a maintenance program that lasts a longer time than just that turf area, the grass area. And so that improvement was approved by council in the summer, early summer, and that pushed us back 90 more days. So we're anticipating early spring to be completed down at Wilbar Creek South. Okay, these are the terms renewals. We got an asterisk by Lisa.
Means I'm very special.
Yeah, something. Means something. She's terming out. She's terminal. Terming out. Amy, Chelsea, and then Melissa, their terms end this year. We will be meeting in front of council where they will make the new board appointments on December 17th. If you haven't put in,
Your reapplication.
yeah, you have to reapply if you're in yellow and you want to be. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we have 6 people that have already potentially applied for these 3 positions. No, 4 positions. Yeah.
Is that why these are showing up now?
Yeah.
After all this time?
Yep. Finally.
What's the deadline for those applications?
That's a great.
It's like all the
question.
emails have just been like,
Yeah.
as soon as you can.
I don't know if
What was the question?
there's not a deadline. Okay.
Didn't say.
I guess as long as it's probably in before that council meeting, but probably
Yeah.
the sooner the better.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll reach out and ask if there's a deadline that they haven't announced yet, and we'll get that to you.
Okay.
We also participated in the Central Region workshop and rodeo last week. So the rodeo is where they do all these park ops activities, and park ops teams from across the region all compete. You can see Kenny over here lining up our 0 turn. He was going to go through the 0 turn. You can see all the cones with tennis balls on them. They do it by time. If you knock a tennis ball off, you get some points reducted, and the top 5 in each of these categories competes at the state. So we ultimately had Alyssa and Ash on the right. They were volunteers at the rodeo. Timmy and Steven won some door prizes. To the left, you can see now that's the team photo. We had 4 folks qualify for state. So those 4 will be going to the state conference in Allen, competing against the other state qualifiers. and to see if they can bring home a state championship in those categories, which we're excited about. And then to the right, you can see that the GOAT program won the maintenance award in the Central Region. So our goats that we had over the summer and gave us a run for our money. But we won a maintenance award for that. We have a meeting in December. As of right now, it is scheduled for the same day as the early release for the ISD. I don't know how many people that does or doesn't affect in holiday. It's 12/19 is the date right now for that meeting. If there's no parkland dedication, we'll work with Leafs to see if we want to cancel that meeting or if we want to have that meeting. We will be discussing wrap-ups of Festival of Lights, Freeze Flop, and our winter and fall break camps. And if it is canceled, we'll just update those in January.
You'd enjoy that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, this would be your last meeting.
It would be, yeah.
That'd be
kind
a
of
nice little
hoping-
gift. Just think about that. You
Yeah.
wrap it in a
I
bow.
was kind of hoping to bring iced cookies for everyone, saying.
You could bring ice cookies to us at the offices. We'd still enjoy very much. Is there any other questions on the director's report?
All right, item 4B, discussion regarding the 2024 Deutschen Pfest.
So we wanted to give you a little update on Deutschen Pfest. So you can see here, this was the layout this year. So you can see the ADA at the parking lot at Gillen Creek on the right side of the screen. You can see the 3 yellow circles. Those are the entrance points that we had this year. The kids area, which expanded, I guess north of Sophie's Court, wrapped around the Veterans Memorial, the Fallen Memorial, and then came over the Gillen Creek Pavilion into those playgrounds that we were talking about that, yeah, mouse isn't gonna work, except when it does. The playgrounds that we put a lot of the carnival areas on. And then the original setup that you see at almost every Deutschen Fest with the vendors around that Pfluger Park loop and a little bit of the tail. We did a beer garden this year, which was new, which we'll talk about. The concert grounds, which we've had in that proximity for the last year or two. And then the food vendor area, which we moved at the request of the fire marshal, where we got it away from the tree canopies. Because a lot of these folks are cooking and they have propane and they're doing a lot of different things, and under a tree canopy was something that didn't really fit with our code, and it was a concern for fire marshal's office. So we did a lot of branding this year. We leaned heavily into the Guten Tag, y'all theme, and so the concept behind that, and we've talked about a little bit, is it's a German festival. It's always been a German festival, but I don't know how everyone else interacts with German culture, right? There are some people that are German or they've been here a long time, and there are some people that have just recently moved here, and they're like, well, I'm not German, or I don't know anybody that's German. Why are we going to a German festival? And so we want to lean into our roots. We don't want to lose any of that for sure. But we're also Texan. We're very much Texan. In fact, most of Central Texas was founded in the German and the Czechs, and you can see that influence all the way through Texas barbecue and some of the other stuff that you see from Fredericksburg and New Braunfels all the way over here. And so we wanted to, hey, we're German, hey, we're also Texan, and we thought between the two, something would connect with you, right? Whether it's the German portion of this or the Texan portion of this. And really in a town like Pflugerville, those two almost kind of interact with each other. Like one really feeds the other. So we did Guten Tag, y'all. And that had a lot of success, and it really kind of allowed us to kind of brand and frame what we were looking to do. And so we have a big Hans. We had some theming areas that were super popular. Once again, you can see the person taking the photos in each of these that will go under these people's Instagram pages or social media somewhere. We had a beer garden this year, like we said earlier, and it was an area that was it was fenced off, not fenced off, but it had fencing around it, so it kind of clearly delineated what was and wasn't the beer garden area. But all the alcoholic vendors in there and all of their nonprofit sponsors that they were working with. We had a huge screen, 16 by 20 screen, that we negotiated as a part of the deal with the entertainment vendor. And we had just a lot of community areas. We had comms in there and the Explore Pflugerville tent, which is part of the communications team. We did all of our competitions in there, a lot of our outreach in there, and it was a hugely popular area. You can see that as the night went on, the UT game happened, and we had a lot of people. That was UT Georgia weekend. That was the #1 game in the country that weekend, and had a lot of people just bring their chairs and sit there, even at the expense of our poor entertainment a little bit. They were there to watch that game and fellowship, but they had fun, which was great. Like I said earlier, we had a lot of our competitions. We did competitions over the course of the 2-day weekend. A couple different Stein holding competitions, 2 or 3 different pretzel eating contests, adult and youth. Still trying to lean heavily into, the German portion of this as well, making sure that people were getting in because of what they were wearing, and making sure that we had music that leaned heavily into that theme. We had a lot of community vibe going on. Prost was new. Prost worked with Parks Foundation. You can see Scott there, former Parks Commissioner, in his Parks Foundation shirt in the foreground of that Prost photo. And then you can see we did some public engagement. We have the mobility master plan that we're working on with Planning and Development Services. We have the Old Town Park Historic Water Tower master plan, and we did some public engagement for that project as well on that site, right outside of the beer garden. A lot of youth activities, a lot of areas for kids and families to enjoy themselves. The petting zoo was always super popular. This year had a baby kangaroo. It was blowing people's minds.
It was a hit.
Yep. Had our touch a truck, which those kids love climbing on that touch a truck. Face painting and areas where families could just enjoy the activities. To the left is Fortlandia with a PF. It's our version of what you see at Dilker. And Amy Rabb and her team of high school kids made this triangle shaped climbing fort. And so you can see kids throughout the course of the thing. And Amy had her kids out there, her high school kids out there, and they got to see a project that they worked on and the community interacting with it. And it's something that we're storing, and we're hoping they build us another one next year. And so then we have 2, and then the year after that we'll have 3 or 4 different pieces that, as long as we can keep them safe and maintain, that the high school kids at Hendrick High School can see their impact to the community.
That's cool.
And then just folks playing in the creek, just enjoying. It was a great weekend as far as weather, and it's a great location. Pfluger Park's it's a beloved area for a reason. Carnival was super popular. There were people trying to figure out what it would cost. We kept telling them it was free, and that was blowing their mind. But we had 4 or 5 carnival apparatuses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, 5 of them.
5 carnival apparatuses, and they stayed busy the whole weekend. Young and old were enjoying themselves. We had vendors. In the historically the same location. You saw vendors throughout most of any other time that you would probably visit Deutschen Pfest, mostly on the Pfluger Park Loop Trail. And we had a lot of feedback already that these vendors want to come back, that they had good weekends. Food trucks, alcohol. Growler Bar sponsored. They gave away growlers to the winners of the Stein Holding contest, and Rotary was there. Rotary had their 2nd best fundraising weekend ever.
Wow.
Just a couple $1,000s off their best weekend ever. So it was a really great weekend. We had the local American Legion sold popcorn. The Boy Scouts were doing what they normally do with ice, and they're fundraising with ice. And so lots of different folks use this as their quote-unquote Black Friday. It's their big weekend throughout the year to really make the money that they're going to need to pour that back into the community. And that's something we constantly think about when we're trying to place them and work with them, is to make sure that all these folks get the opportunity to make as much as they can these weekends, so they can really pour in and love back into the community with their initiatives.
And that's their 2nd highest weekend, while also adding another alcohol vendor. So
Yeah. The Rotary tent was still there, and you can see Rotary. They had like I said, 2nd highest ever. So they had their 2 locations, a very popular setup for them. We had entertainment, regular, I guess what you would call non-German entertainment, but then we still, once again, throughout the weekend, especially in the beer garden and other areas, tried really hard to make sure that when you were in the beer garden area, when you were in different aspects of the event, that you felt like you could be getting that German experience that people every year continue to ask for more and more. And we thought, in a lot of ways, we hope we hit the mark that people have been asking for. We had lots of different performers come up. And we had a lot of staff and volunteer efforts. Could not have done this with just our park staff. Comms team was there, police, public works. A lot of different staff worked a lot of hours that weekend to pull this off, and thought they did a great job. All photos of staff volunteering throughout the weekend. So we have some areas of improvement. We obviously, I don't know if you ever have enough signage, but we think we can continue to have more kiosk style signage, run of show type signage, so you know where you're at any one time, and if there's someone performing that you wanted to see perform, you didn't lose them in the moment. You're always able to say, oh, it's almost 3 o'clock and this person's performing over here. Working on schedule and performer adjustments. We felt like in moments there was too tight of a timeline, and sometimes between, the guys playing the
Accordion.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, versus the people coming up on stage or vice versa. So just continuing to work on those. Fun run enhancements. We moved Fun Run from Sunday to Saturday, and we in fact we eliminated the Sunday portion of that. Moved the Fun Run and the community festival area to Saturday, and seemed to have a lot of good feedback on that. But we've even thought about potentially moving Fun Run to the weekend before, and so it's kind of kicks off what would be like the Deutschen Pfest week, and then maybe we would take cons 3 or 4 different places in the community, blow them up, have people be able to come out, take photos Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like trying to geek people up on the fact that Deutschen Pfest was coming. I don't know if everyone was there. I was in the EOC, which is a pretty lonely spot because you're just there planning for any type of emergency. You're in a box most of the time, so I didn't get to see everybody. But did anybody hear or have any feedback? It's excellent.
Well,
We were killing it.
so a few people, whenever we were talking to them at our booth, just about Deutschen Pfest and about the Parks Foundation and everything. I mean, it sounds like there were a lot of things actually to do that were free within there, but I think the general feedback, and it might be just because people didn't know the different free things that they could do.
Yeah.
It was like, you pay to get in to pay more money to like for food or for
Yeah.
drinks or, so I think maybe before to kind of promote people to say, hey, you pay to get in here, but here's all the free things that
Yeah.
you'll have access to, like more like advertisement before that highlights you'll have free access to the carnival and all the rides, the
What
petting
your
zoo.
ticket gets you. or
What
whatever.
does your ticket
Yeah.
get you? And I know I was trying to find a flyer to like, post on my LinkedIn, and I had a hard time finding just like a flyer that I could share with people, so maybe like even more like
Hey, share this. This
shareable
please share.
things,
Yeah, yeah,
like
I
a
like that.
flyer that folks could share on their
I don't
on their
think we
social
posted
media.
anything that said what you're getting for your value, so that's a good point.
Yeah, and then just, something that, because like whenever I invited my dad, he was like, well, can you just send me over a flyer? But I ended up sending him the website because I didn't have just like a flyer that had all the information, like this is the day it
Yeah.
is, this is the cost,
No,
things
that
like
makes a lot of sense.
Other than that, the event was great. I was very thankful to,
How did y'all do? I mean, for y'all and for Prost, it was just a way to kind of introduce yourself to the community. more
yeah,
than
it
anything.
was great. We had a lot of people sign up for our newsletter. We met a lot of people got shirts. Like it was really cool. We asked everyone that we talked to, like if there were certain things that were priority for them and they'd like to see more of. So we were noting all of that. So it was fun and it was cool. I think one thing that's hard, and I get it, I don't even know if there's a way around this, but a lot of people are like, I didn't even realize you could get beer anywhere else other than the very large tents.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of a struggle if you're one of the smaller vendors with the smallers, that folks don't really see that there are other beer vendors there also with nonprofits. But I don't know if there's any other way of kind of getting around that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That was
I
the
mean,
one thing that was kind of, we heard, like, oh, we didn't realize Post was over here.
I think what Slice that we found some success with is we had those color cups.
Yeah.
And so you're drinking the orange cup, and you're like, oh, where'd you get the pink cup? Oh, you gotta go into Hanover to get the pink cup, or whatever. And so
Yeah.
people that were wanting to collect every color, they ended up trying Victory Tap and Prost and
And we were
Hanover.
welcoming the yellow cup, so I think it's a matter of maybe in
Yeah.
the future, the nonprofits talking and saying like, hey, if we get a cup and our cup is this cup, like, would you accept that cup at yours? Because
Yeah.
we'll accept your cup at ours, you know, and make sure that that's cool. But other than that, it was really cool. We were really excited that y'all made that work for the foundation.
Yeah, no, I was glad to see the Parks Foundation there and Prost. Hopefully y'all are both there together for a long time.
Yeah.
How much money did y'all make?
Well, because we shared it, profit for us was around 2,000.
That's awesome.
Which was, you know, a little bit under 2,000, which was really great. Donations and the profit sharing, but we, you know, we had a very reasonable profit sharing
Right.
between the two of us,
That's
you
good.
know, because we want them to get value out of it as well.
So Placer AI is that software I use when I'm comparing usage in our park system. It's the same one that Costco and all those other types of development companies use when they're trying to figure out the next location they're going to put one of their businesses in. So these are pretty good stats. We feel pretty comfortable about what we get from Placer. Friday, you can see we had a little over 2,000. And the year before Friday, we had 2,500. Saturday, we had 3,500, and the previous year, we had right around 4,000. So a total, we had 5,700, and the previous year, we had 6,500. So we're about 12% down from what we had previous years. I always talk to staff, we don't chase attendance. That's one thing I can't do a lot. Like, attendance doesn't owe you anything. Like, you can have an event go viral, and that group didn't work very hard, and everyone can attend, and you can have an event. And we work on intention and beer garden and having free carnival, and we work on it for 10 months, and we have less attendance, right? And that can make you want to pull your hair out if the only thing you scored it off of is attendance. And so we were trying to see, we had a dip. Why did we have a dip? Because the previous 2 years, we had hit our best 2 years ever. So we had our best year ever. Then last year, we had beat the best year ever that we could track. And so then this year, we have a dip. As I said earlier, UT played Georgia, and that's a big game. I think any Longhorn fan
But
would
you
have
had
told
the
you.
TV up.
And we did. But the previous year, UT played BYU, which probably isn't as big of a game, first of all, and they played them away. So there was no game at Darrell K. Royal, right? That weekend, so it was away. And then the following weekend, when they played BYU at home, they had a 20% increase with the Georgia game. So even hosting BYU, a year later hosting Georgia, 20% more people attended that game at Darrell K. Royal Stadium. So first of all, it was a hot ticket, and it's one of those games that everyone wanted to be at the experience or experience the atmosphere of it. So if they weren't at the game, they're at the local pubs or bars attending. Also,
Boulevard.
huh?
Vivo Boulevard.
Yep. CODA, Circuit of the Americas, is something that happens every weekend during Deutschen Pfest. And they experienced a 5% increase. We did not track their Sunday because Sunday didn't affect us this year, but their Friday and Saturday in 2023 versus their Friday, Saturday in 2024, they saw a 5% increase. So between those two, we saw a 25% increase in our competition. So I think it's likely
because I
that.
stepped off of Deutschen Fest and took my 1,000 followers
Come on
with
back.
me.
Well, we only need 800 of them. What would it take
okay.
for 800 of them? So, we're resigned to the fact that we'll compete with CODA every year, and the UT game will be what the UT game is. And if they're the number one team in the country and Georgia's the number 2 and they play at home again next year, it could be a smaller turnout. If they play away, we believe we've curated an experience with the beer garden and the live music and the beer and the kids' activities that maybe there might not be a better place to watch an away game in the Austin area than maybe Pflugerville. So it could be feast or famine depending on what the schedule is, but we're committed to providing this experience at this date, regardless of what's going on elsewhere in Austin. Because as Pflugerville has grown, we've come to realize that Pflugerville residents will travel for a UT game, obviously, and will travel for CODA, but they also like to have a local option. And so if we can be that local option and we can be intentional with the entertainment we bring in and how we're curating that beer garden and the carnival and everything else, we feel comfortable going up against anybody, and whatever the attendance numbers shake out is what they shake out.
Was the pavilion used for anything?
Yep, at the kids zone area.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know.
So we
'cause
had
I
it,
didn't- I
we
didn't
had it
know.
in the kids zone area. We had a couple of kids zone vendors in there. And then we had areas where they could color and eat.
Yeah.
And then we had some funnel cakes and a couple of kid zone type food trucks over there, so they could grab food and go over.
So the big screen TV, I don't know if this cost prohibitive, but to your point about signage, did you have a secondary TV that's just running all the schedules
Yeah,
on that side maybe?
yeah. I mean, there's obviously a cost to that. It wouldn't have to be
Yeah.
as nice as that 16 by 20.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, that's definitely something we could do. Especially on the kid zone side, so.
Yeah,
Oh, hey, let's wrap this up, do your last ride, because whoever's performing at 3 and I wanna go see them, yeah.
I like the layout personally. I know the only thing I heard, like, you know, people will find comments to make about
Yeah.
anything, but you know, oh, the food's so far away from the kids, so you know,
Yeah.
walk across. But I mean, I felt like it was really well laid out, and it did spread things out a little bit to where everything felt like there was activity, but like it didn't feel congested at all. I really liked the setup this year.
What we were trying to do was make sure that no one felt on an island, right? That there was enough activity going on in the kid zone that people would walk through the vendors to get to the kid zone area, that there's enough activity
Yeah.
on the tail of the quote unquote vendor loop, so those people didn't feel like they were just out on their own, that there was enough activity through the, I mean, I feel like sometimes the entertainment had less than even the beer garden at times because of the UT game. I think in a different time it might have been different, but, and then the food court area. And we had some food vendors that were pretty quick even after night one saying, this was a great event, we want to be back next year. So, we know vendors appreciated the turnout that we did have and the dwell times that we had and the engagement that we had once people were there.
if you could sort of design it like IKEA. You go to IKEA and all of a sudden you realize you can't get out.
Drives
You're-
me
you're on
crazy.
right, but you
I've
have to
never
go
been.
through, you need to go so you know what I'm talking about.
Swedish
Just once
meatballs,
you
right?
get
That's the only
inside,
reason I'm going.
no, you can take
They're
those with you.
shortcuts.
Yeah. It takes you a while to find the
I'll go
shortcuts,
for it.
but that's the way they designed it, yeah.
And just one last plug. You know, I know there are probably other opinions of like how and where the beer garden was set up. I do think that it was a nice touch that the smaller vendors that have less of an appearance were directly beside the entertainment area, so people who are walking from the stage and going
Yeah.
to get the beer we could at least have an opportunity to have a little bit more traffic come by us. So I did appreciate that a
You
lot.
put sticks down and trip them. So they don't get all the way
Oh,
through.
seriously? I mean, I was like, hey, we have beer here too.
Got an obstacle course they gotta go through.
Come on, you know. So I appreciate that. I would hope that might be a consideration for next year.
Could we have a beer on a sign, on a stick, a beer mug on a stick, you know, it's a big beer mug and everybody that has a beer, whatever, that stick is out there, so it's real easy to identify as you're walking through the park.
Oh, like what vendors are selling beer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, just have, I mean,
Yeah, that is one of the things in that more signage that
Yeah.
we've talked about. We doubled our signage this year at Deutschen Pfest, and it still wasn't enough. So
Yeah.
we're probably gonna have to double again the year after that to
Yep.
continue to hit,
it's like how many emails
to
do
even
you
get
send
close
out?
to our
Yep.
our signage goal. So
Of course, you could have community groups or nonprofits paying for those signs with their, you know, little name at the bottom, sponsored by this sign.
yeah, we had 7 sponsors this year. Canes was a sponsor. JCB sponsored, both with financial sponsorship, but then they also brought equipment, and so that was part of the Touch a Truck.
They sponsored the whole thing, though. I'm talking about an individual beer sign,
Yes.
sponsored by, okay,
Yeah, like a signage sponsor.
got it.
But you're saying a sign, a beer sign sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah, beer
Brought to you by
sign
HEB,
by
brought to you
First
by
United Methodist
First-
Church, all the
Like
beer you
each
could drink, I
side.
told you that.
Yeah.
Maybe not that one.
Mark that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? All right, Dave.
Item 5A, discussion regarding urban foresters updates.
Yeah, how's it going, everybody?
You tell me you ready?
Oh, I'm always ready. Te horse pray. That's French for always ready, bro.
Always ready.
And that is the extent of my
Born
French.
ready.
All right, so I started on a couple slides with kind of updates on the programs that we had talked about last time that we were starting this year, and then kind of an update on just our two big planting events we've had so far. So if y'all remember last time, we were gonna start the very first Citizen Forester course. We had 13 graduates. Not everyone could make it. This picture was taken at Arbor Day. To
Taken
that,
by me.
you
You like
can-
those skills?
look at that
Folks.
professional quality.
That's me. Look at the sun coming through and the
It's
frame.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a C in photography class in
What
college.
is wrong with
I
you?
don't know. Pretty good though.
So I've noticed that my bullets aren't showing up on the side, so I'm not sure where we are in this.
You had bullets there? Cool.
Yeah.
I went in.
So biggest impact I noticed, I'm gonna reach out to them for volunteer events moving forward for everything. We're still not entirely sure what the Citizen Foresters are gonna do, besides just wear really cool t-shirts everywhere they go. But in my career, I've done a lot of community planting events. This is the only time I didn't have to go back and correct planting because they were there helping all the volunteers.
Yeah,
So-
they graduated and they stayed for the Arbor Day.
Mm-hmm.
We actually see one parks commissioner there, Jennifer. And they did a great job. You were able to like put them off in sections and they were working with,
Yeah, and that was kind of my biggest hope was that I can just be like, hey, the people with the bright shirts, y'all got this. And they did. Yeah, doing a post-planting inspection, did not need to make any corrections. I do need to add stakes to one, but that was actually the one I planted as the demonstration tree. But that's fine.
next slide.
Well, we're gonna keep it going next year. I'm kind of bounced the idea off of this class with some mixed results, but potentially maybe moving the classroom portion. We'll still have a physical class available for people annually, but having the classroom portion also available online for people that can't make the physical class or just don't like being in rooms with people. But we'll see about that. But yeah, lessons learned on that one. But by and large, really proud of it. Next slide. So we started the Tree ID walks last year. We did 3 of them just to see if there was any interest. There definitely was interest. We had, our second walk was our smallest group. We had 9 plus a dog, so I'm counting that as 10. Our last one in August, which I wasn't expecting a big turnout because it was going to be the hottest one. We actually had the most. It was in the high teens. I didn't get a head count. That picture was actually taken by Nathan. So
Good
we,
job. No light coming through. I don't know.
but yeah, we'll add a couple more next year and we'll keep it going. That way, we'll start in February and go through November. That way we can try to catch the trees during various stages, during seasons of the year. And then just some ideas I got from some of the participants about what we could do to make it better. Biggest one was I made these little tree ID books, but they weren't all that great. But making that a little bit more formalized. We actually saw her in the last picture. Allison Bayless, she's the urban ecologist for the Texas Forest Service. She recently became a certified forest therapy guide. So maybe one of those we can see if she can give us some therapy. I won't show up to that one. I've been actively avoiding therapy. So
You might check with Texas A&M. I know they put out like guides, like tree guides and planting guides, and because I had one from before, so you might be able to leverage what's already out there instead of having to come up with your own.
well, and the one that I put together was all stolen from their website. I didn't say that. Oh, I mean, it's not because it's all copyrighted.
Right.
Borrowed.
We're just
We're
acknowledging.
borrowed.
Anyway. So, and then if safety approves, I wouldn't mind if Parks Department approves and our safety department approves, finding an expert forager and maybe inviting them on one of the hikes. So.
Yeah.
And then Arbor Day. So this was the big tree event of the year. We had over 30 participants. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that was twice as many as last year. So if these trends continue, we're going to be advertising Deutschen Pfest at Arbor Day.
That's right. That's right.
So we'll see about that. We had one of the things we did this year was actually partner up with some people. So the Central Texas Woodturners were the biggest one. David Tree Expert Company came out and did some tree climbing demonstrations. They were able to sell some work the day of, so it was worth it for them, basically. And then, of course, the Pflugerville Parks Foundation, who doesn't know how to spell foundation, was there sponsoring seed throwing.
Because it would be PFPPF.
PF squared.
PF squared. Oh, I like that.
It'd be PFPP. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm just saying. It doesn't make sense. It was intentional. We didn't put the P in front of the F. So it could be PFPF as an acronym.
It's not fair having the other two here to argue with you about it.
I know. I had to defend this.
With the planting at Pflugerville Park, we actually have enough tree diversity out there now where we could, if we can label the trees, we can become an arboretum at Pfluger Park. Slight speed bump on that one. The artist, Robert O'Brien, who you've seen his work, if you've ever picked up a tree guide, he's like internationally famous, used for everything. Website doesn't work, doesn't respond to emails, doesn't do phone calls. So he might have retired without telling anybody.
He's a bit of an artist, that guy.
Yeah. So we might need to find a new artist to get these other ones labeled, and then.
Can you talk to me with the Arts Council about that?
Do y'all?
He's shaking his head no. Anyway, so
What about the artist? Do y'all have an artist?
we have a few. Yeah. It's
There's a whole
it's
council
the Arts
full of
Council. That's what we do. Yeah, we'll just touch base. I'd like, if you send out a call to art, I'd certainly love to be part of that process.
Oh, absolutely. I think and sourcing an artist locally would be even cooler. And Robert O'Brien really had the market in, tree and plant ID. So if somebody does a good job, there's gonna be a void, here pretty
Sure.
soon. So
Okay.
he could have just gone on an extended vacation without telling us, but he doesn't owe me anything. He
Checked
could have.
obituaries and all that. That didn't pass, right?
Yeah, and then some room for improvement. I think starting advertising earlier. Pick a Saturday that doesn't have as much going on. A couple of our citizen foresters couldn't go because they were at the trunk or treat for paws. So, and I'm sure other just normal participants probably were doing other stuff. So, next slide. All right, so the IRA grant update. We did our first planting. We had 32 participants. We planted 29 trees, and a couple days after, because we were expecting a lot more people to show up for volunteers. That is on us. I think communication, we can't figure out our communication. Why people aren't getting our emails. We tried using MailChimp. I've tried doing it from my work computer. We don't know why it's going into people's spam boxes. It's happening to both the people who sign up for trees and the people who sign up to volunteer. So it's, I think this would be a perfect job for an intern to call all the hundred of people that do it. But by and large, I think it was a success. But we got some more coming up. We're going to be planting another 26 on the 7th, and then the students from Dance Elements is actually going to plant a couple more. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So by the end of this year, we should be about 16% complete. That does not include our spring plantings. Hopefully, we can be about 25% complete by the time we finish our spring plantings to keep us on track for finishing in a time frame. We don't know 100%, but we're pretty confident that with the incoming administration, we will still have this funding. This is the IRA. Is one of the things that the incoming president's promised to get rid of, but we've already signed the agreement. We haven't been given any guarantees by the U.S. Forest Service, but our grant administrator is pretty confident that we're safe because everything's already been signed. So, so if anyone's trying to get a grant from the IRA, do it now. Because room for improvement, communication. We're gonna get with Junior and see if we can get some more site prep for the volunteers.
You want to tell them what IRA stands for?
The Inflation Reduction Act. So, and that's the urban and community. It's not UFC, it's UCF, Urban and Community Forestry. So,
Sounds very militant. The IRA, UFC.
yeah.
I'm thinking.
We put people with the IRA and they had to fight each other.
Conor McGregor, sponsor.
But yeah, and then upcoming, these are the things that we're gonna get done either before I see y'all next. But we're doing the ISD planting next week while the kids are out of school. Second IRA planting's on the 7th. Sand Tree Claus is coming back. For those of y'all that don't know, Santa Claus has a cousin that lives in Pflugerville because he didn't like the weather up north.
That's right.
It's Sand Tree Claus.
Nice.
Best thing about him, he's got no moral compass. He doesn't care if you've been naughty or nice. If you plant a tree, he'll give one to you.
That's right.
So, and then Pflugerville parking lot, I know that's been kind of an eyesore since the summer. I've already asked for a bid from for a contractor to replace all those trees. Awaiting that, fully expecting to have to ask for more, but we might have to piecemeal it. We'll figure that out. But it's gonna get done here pretty soon. And then we got a bunch of small plantings here and there. Parks that we had trees die over the summer, we're just gonna replace them.
Planting season goes till March.
What's that?
Planting season, tree planting season, when does it go to?
I mean, right now is the best time. I'll plant up until April,
Okay.
generally. And it's all gonna depend on weather. If we still have rain in the forecast and it's not ridiculously hot, we can probably go to April. May's pretty much a no-go.
Yeah.
Typically, this year would have been great because we had such a wet summer, followed by the driest fall in a long time.
Right.
So, but we should be good.
Awesome, Dave. Y'all got any questions for Dave?
Not a question necessarily, but a comment.
Okay, thank you.
I wasn't talking to you. So where we live, somebody from the city came by and said they're gonna do some road work. And we have trees in the city right away, which they told us they're probably going to take out. We have some trees that we planted like 15 or so years ago. And so I said, so he came by and I was thankful that he talked to us directly. It was Brad, I believe. But I asked him, I said, okay, well, what's gonna happen? Because he's like, well, you could dig them up and put them somewhere else. And I'm like, are we sure we can do that? And he's like, well, I'll check with you. So I'll do that. But the thing is that I brought up with him is, okay, I'm taking out 5 trees. That's reducing, or not me, but if they take out my 5 trees, that's reducing overall tree canopy, tree coverage. What are we going to do as a city to replace that? Can the city give me trees? Can they give me a discount on trees? So I want us to make sure and think about, if we can, when they do have to do whatever road work, if they have to take out trees, that we have a plan in place to put trees back in, if we can, wherever we can.
I agree with you. I have no say over that. But I know a guy that will give you trees and will help you plant them. It's Sand Tree Claus.
That guy right up there?
But no, I can definitely give you the trees. We have leftovers from planting events. I order them intentionally for doing small plantings around town. And I don't see any reason why, if we have to take a tree out of a public space, we can't replenish it in that,
And there's
in that
a
same public
development
space.
fund, right? If the developers are removing trees, they have to pay into that tree development fund.
Not if it's a city project.
Gotcha.
So that's.
And I don't know the city's doing it, so I don't know why.
That's a good question, though. We'll find out what we're doing.
What street is it?
It's Meadow Creek, at the end of Meadow Creek,
Meadow Creek.
yeah. On the other side of downtown east.
think it's part of the bond. I think they're supposed to just redo our
Like
roads.
Willow
I
Creek?
think it's just them redoing
Willow
our
Creek
roads.
subdivision?
Like
I didn't think
resurfacing.
Meadow Creek was in the 2020 bond. I know some of our streets in Little Creek
I'm not trying to be rude,
were,
but I think I might.
but I didn't think Meadow Creek was.
We can find out
But
what
they
they're
are
doing.
resurfacing, but he was talking about they're going to do something. Did they not come by and talk to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna have to move those huge rocks out of there because we want to keep the rocks.
Oh,
I don't know
yeah.
how we're gonna pick them up. I'll
Yeah,
let White deal with that.
yeah.
Because I know
But I
they're,
was disappointed that, because we have 2 mountain laurels that we planted 15 plus years ago, and we have a giant, I mean, nice mature trees, and I hate to lose them.
yeah, there's a couple spots, I don't know, it's probably the same, the name of the neighborhood's, I'm drawing a blank on it. But they're doing a big road project, basically between Railroad and 685, the neighborhood there.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah,
So there's been a couple times where we made some compromises. We're gonna be doing some bulb apps for some folks and things like that.
that may be an option, but with us being in a cul-de-sac, he's not 100% sure. He is
Okay.
checking into that.
Can I talk to you off the record,
Yes.
because I might have some news for you on that.
Okay.
There you go.
I think I might have some.
I wasn't trying to make it about me, but it's just something we need to think about in general. If there is road work, for whatever reason, that's taking out trees, we need to make sure to put trees back in somewhere so that we keep our overall.
Yeah, so we are actually at the very beginning of doing a developmental code update, and there's gonna be some changes. I'm really pushing for some changes. I mean, it's all easy to find, so I guess I can say it on the record. But there's certain things that the city's exempt from inside of our tree code. I'm really gonna push to make that list of things we're exempt from a lot smaller. But it's not up to me, but I'm definitely being as annoying as possible about it. So I'm really good at that.
And you have that other guy who can help too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he only shows up in the wintertime. It's weird.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Item 6, adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn? He said it. Stan, do we have a second?
A second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. It is 8:05.